Albanese, can I ask you, what technical assistance, if any, has the Singaporean government offered to both Singtel and potentially to Optus to help deal with the security breach here in Australia? And Prime Minister Lee, if I could ask you, you've been an advocate for China being allowed to join the CPTPP, whereas Australia, of course, has been much more sceptical on that point. Was this discussed between the two of you today, and have you urged Prime Minister Anthony Albanese on this point at all?
Thanks very much. On the Optus issue, we did have a discussion about that, and the Prime Minister indicated, of course, that Singtel, which is a Singapore-based company, which is the owner of Optus, will have full cooperation with the government in dealing with the issue. There are two issues here. One is a cybersecurity issue, the other is a privacy issue. Of course, some of the issues exposed by the Optus breach are covered with the Privacy Act already. And it is a wake-up call to all companies about data retention and about the need to be vigilant in making sure that the provisions of the Privacy Act are complied with, that there is no need to, and indeed a requirement under the Privacy Act to ensure that data isn't kept for no purpose going forward. And that is one of the things that's been exposed here by the incident. But I appreciate the Prime Minister, of course, being cooperative on this issue, as I would completely expect.
On Optus, I told the Prime Minister that Singapore takes the data breach very seriously. We expect all Singapore companies to comply fully with domestic laws wherever they operate, and to cooperate with the domestic regulators to protect consumers' interests, just as we would expect all companies to do in Singapore. In the case of Optus, this is an Australian company. It's incorporated and headquartered in Australia. Its operations are run out of Australia and not from Singapore. And therefore, Australia's rules and regulations apply in addressing this incident. I told the Prime Minister the Singtel Group, which owns Optus, is taking the incident seriously, and as owner, will fully support Optus in meeting Australia's rules and requirements in handling the incident. Our cybersecurity and Infocom agencies have also reached out to their Australian counterparts. We stand ready to provide support to the Australian government should our assistance be needed.
Thank you.
On the CPTPP, we've stated our position. I have that I think it's good if China is able to join the CPTPP. They will, of course, have to meet the requirements fully, the conditions and the obligations, but I think that's something which is possible and can be negotiated. But, of course, for China to join the CPTPP, there has to be a consensus amongst all the existing members. And it so happens that this year Singapore is chairing the CPTPP committee, and as chair, we will do our duty and canvass views amongst the, have been canvassing views amongst the participants on applicants who want to join, whether the process should begin. China has applied, so have some other applicants. And I don't think there's a consensus yet, but we'll continue the process. And as for Australia's position, I think Australia knows what it is doing, and we understand each other's point of view.